Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. But sometimes we invite a guest on to discuss a film that means the world of horror to them. Today, joining us to discuss a film that means the world of horror to her, a new guest to the show and host of Residue, a true crime podcast, is Chrissy Champagne. Welcome to the podcast, Chrissy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
We're so happy.
It's so nice to meet you, see you in person. Thank you.
Oh, sure. We're so happy to have you. We've been talking a lot over Instagram, and it's just really great to be together today. I wanted to talk to you about your podcast, Residue, which I'm a huge fan of.
Thank you.
And we were just talking about how you're doing it all by yourself, which is quite a task. And when did you start your podcast?
I started it November 21st in 2023. So it's really new.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
And what made you want to start a podcast?
Well, I went to school I went to college, but this is back in the 90s for production, editing, television production, movie production, and then didn't do anything with that. Worked in insurance like my entire life and was really hating that job. I was in the shower one day and I was listening to Morbid like I always do. And I was like, I want to do this. I think I can do it. But I just doubted myself all the time. And then my husband just pushed me. And he was like, he got the setup. He was like, you're going to do it. Let's come up with a name. Let's do this. And every day it's just learning something else. And it's getting better and better. I love it. I just wanted to do something I was passionate about and have a passion project,
Yeah.
That really comes through in the show. You can really tell that,
really? Thank
yes,
you.
For sure. It's something that you're really passionate about. And I I don't know if this is a good thing to say, but I really love it when you get upset.
Okay, good. I try to hold back because I'll edit out stuff and I swear way too much. My husband will listen. Every single episode, he takes the dog on a walk and he listens and he'll come back and he'll go, it was so great, but you need to get angry more. You're holding it back. You're being too professional. And I'm like, I know, but a lot of times, some of the killers are, able to come get me. So I also don't want to I don't want him to get out of jail and come to my house bitch. Can I swear?
Oh, for
yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Swear away.
That's good.
Yeah. The last one about Stacy Castor. Is that the right name?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got really upset. And I was just in my car.
She is from my town.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure her daughter lives pretty close to me.
Oh, wow.
I do try to get in contact with some of the people. I have gotten into contact with some family members to, ask if they have anything they want to say or if they feel uncomfortable with me doing it, especially since I try to do every few weeks a story from my town. And there are a lot. So it is people are constantly telling me, do this one. And I'm like, I don't know. It's really hard when they live so close to you. It's
Yeah.
It's difficult.
That is really nice that you reach out, though. I feel like that is not always the case with a lot of other true crime things, or you just hear about people, having poor experiences with it.
Exactly. I've had a lot of people in, a couple people in some of the episodes who I mentioned or who I quoted who didn't really have that much to do with the story, but they've contacted me through social media and thanked me. A lot of organizations will thank me. I try to promote any charity that's involved with the case. And I try to donate whatever I can to it too, just to get it rolling. And one of the local charities here, Aaron's Angels, they reach out quite a bit and they thank me. And I share a lot of their stuff.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a great connection.
That's
really nice. What has been, in terms of podcasting, what has been your biggest surprise with the podcast?
So the surprise to me, there's two things. One was just the amount of people I met so quickly, like you, just the friends I made so quickly, the community in podcasting, just the way everyone supports each other. I didn't expect that so quickly because I researched a lot. Like I went into this like trying to know statistics and numbers and like how many episodes I had to get and consistency. And I didn't realize that I was going to like make friends so quickly. And that was so great. Like that ties into like the most rewarding part too, I think, you know. I do have to say, I think another thing that really surprised me is how connected I got to the cases, if that makes sense. Like I'll spend the entire week just like living that case and researching it. And it almost feels like the people involved are like with you. And so they're like with you and I'm like dreaming about them. And I didn't know it would get that deep doing it too. It's like I have to feel it to
I think
about
that's really, I think that's like a really good thing to do. Like it must be very intense, but it's coming through that you are passionate and that you know, are treating these cases and these people like, you know, it happened to real people, you know. I think that's really important.
I always try to remember this is not just a story. When it's close to home, it's easier for me. When it's something far away, even another country, you have to remember like this is someone's life. They live this every day. Something you say could hurt them again or start the whole process of their grief and healing again. So I try to approach it like, what if this happened to me? I don't want someone talking about it or laughing about things, you know, like, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing that we've touched on a little bit in terms of what we do, in terms of subject matter is trigger warnings and just trying to make sure that people are prepared because we talk about some pretty like fucked up stuff on the show. So it's like important to be able to not alienate the audience, but you know, if people can relate to what we're talking about, that's the most important thing. Yeah,
Definitely.
But that's kind of like changed in my mind. I'm more prone to give a trigger warning than I think we were, you know, in the beginning.
Yeah. I need those too sometimes. When I listen to true crime like nonstop, I get it. And I think about it sometimes with myself. Like you turned on a true crime podcast, you know, I shouldn't have to trigger warn everything. But I do like I don't want to listen to something if it's about a kid, any kind of child abuse or any child getting hurt. So I appreciate when they'll say in the beginning, like, this is about, you know, child. So I'm out.
Yeah, I know. I asked you about that one case if you were going to cover it because you were like, no, it makes me too mad.
It's also so big. Sometimes and my husband tries to push me. He's like, do bigger. I'm like, I don't know. Like I listen to a lot of true crime. I don't want to hear the same story over and over. Like, so I'll try to stick to stuff people haven't heard or something different that's not just constantly overdone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first true crime case that you were fascinated with?
Yeah. So first, Ramirez obviously is when I was little. I heard about Richard Ramirez. I just couldn't understand. And I remember I might have been, sixth grade, something like that. And I remember going to school and they were having career day and they said that we all had to go job shadow someone. And I first asked if I could job shadow a filmmaker. Like they're like, no. And then I said, fine, I want to be like a criminologist. And they were like, oh, okay. And we talked about Ramirez. So that was like the first like true crime. But the real first case where I got interested and I like begged my mother to buy me the books by Anne Rule in the store and stuff was the Shanda Scherer story. I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong. Do you know that one?
I don't think so.
It's really, really awful. And I want to do it one day. I just have to prepare mentally. And she was only 12 years old and was basically tortured and killed by 4 of her teenage friends. So that was the first one I heard when I was younger, where I was like, I need to understand the mind of these people. Why are they doing this to each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll hear me do that one day. Maybe make it a big one, like a 50th or 100th episode or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know some of the cases are just like so disturbing that you're just like, what compels people to do
The
these
amount
things?
of nightmares that I have, you would have no idea. Like, I keep track of my nightmares now and I write them down. It's just nonstop.
Oh, gosh.
So I have to watch, King of Queens sometimes, or The Office, and like Vanderpump Rules. I'm huge into the Housewives, and I'll be like, okay, before I go to bed, I gotta watch some Scandival stuff.
Yeah. Palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Well, also, I wanted to ask you about horror. Have you always been a fan of horror films?
Yes, it's my love. I was in love since I was little. I was thinking about that earlier, how Chopping Mall was on a VHS cassette at my house with Dark Night of the Scarecrow, which was a made-for-TV movie. And then there was another made-for-TV movie called Don't Go to Sleep, I think it was called. It was, you might remember it, not you, Mac, but like, it had like a sister who died in a car crash, and she came back from the dead, and she haunted the family with her little braids in her hair. And she was like trying to get her sister who was alive, to kill the rest of the family. So I had those 3 movies on a VHS tape, and I just like lived with them all day. I was obsessed. I loved Children of the Corn, Maximum Overdrive. I was so indecisive about what movie to pick for this, because I love so many. And my best friend was like, Chrissy, you have talked about Chopping Mall since the day I met you. That's true.
Yeah, that's really great.
I feel like Chopping Mall isn't one that you hear talked about a lot. It's
Right?
kind of a niche thing.
And it's so cult classic. Like, you go digging into it, and there's so many, they love it. It's like, it's also not my typical genre, which is crazy. I'm not a fan of sci-fi horror. I love, like, my husband always makes fun of me because he'll be like, oh, there's a movie you'd like. It's just got to be in the woods. You're in the woods. There's a killer, and I'm in. I don't care what it's about. If you're in the woods and you're getting killed, okay. That sounded really bad.
I feel like that makes sense. It's like the more grounded stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
Also, like, that can really happen to you. I don't know if maybe we could have robots kill us in the mall one day. I don't know.
Hopefully not.
No, I was thinking about this one. I don't know how I missed it. It was 86, and I think RoboCop was the next year, but we had already had Short Circuit, and I don't know. This is just like a blank spot.
It got thrown in.
Yeah.
And it wasn't called, it was called Killbots. But if it was called Killbots, I probably wouldn't have watched that. I had a mall in there. I was like obsessed with malls at that point because of Tiffany and New Kids on the Block. And like, I wanted everything to happen in the mall. Yes. So I was like, horror movie in the mall. This is amazing.
And it is like so 80s culture. Like, so absolutely. 80s. Yeah. And I was just thinking about like is it the Day of the Dead? I don't know. I always get them mixed up, but.
Oh yeah. In the mall?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. When I saw Chopping Mall, so what was I, 10? I remember thinking, I went to the mall with my parents, and I came up with a movie idea in my head while I was in the mall. This is a weird memory that I still remember. And I was like, I'm going to make another killer movie in the mall, and I'm going to play Welcome to the Jungle. That's the song that's going to be playing while they try to escape. That's as far as I got with that movie. That was it. I was going to pitch that. So, and now someone's going to do it, and I'm going to be mad.
So I did a little very superficial research on this movie, and I know that it was shot in an actual mall, and so was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was one of the movies that I watched.
Doesn't it look just like
it does? It's amazing.
It looks just like Fast Times at Ridgemont, but you know what? So I Googled that, and I found out that Commando was shot in that same mall.
Yes.
And that makes sense because I was obsessed with Commando. I wanted him to be my dad. I was like, oh my God, he saves his daughter. And I didn't know Chopping Mall. That's probably why I was so connected to both movies, not knowing they were the same scenery.
It was imprinted somehow in your memory. So in a general, so I guess going forward with this conversation as we get into the film, I just want to provide a disclaimer for WOHOs like we do every time. We will be assuming you have knowledge of this film and we will be spoiling it. And we will most likely be using language that may not be suitable for all listeners. So, Chrissy, in a general way, what is Chopping Mall all about?
Oh, it is about these crazy kids who actually look like they're in their heading into their 40s.
Yeah.
And also, like, why is a married couple just hanging out with this group of teenagers? And they're like, don't you? And she brings like lingerie with her and she's trying it on. I'm like, you brought like a bridal set that you wear on your honeymoon night to the mall.
With these high schoolers.
I know. And they're just so, well, anyway, what it's about, they have a fun party at the mall, but there's a storm and the storm knocks out the power and the robots go crazy and it doesn't, and they just start shooting laser beams at everyone that's not supposed to be in the mall.
Great.
That's it. That's Chopping Mall.
That's
there
Chopping
you go.
Mall. And you may
I pitched it so well. I no wonder none of my friends have ever watched it. What's it about? It's just like all these teenagers doing it in the mall. And let me tell you, I cannot believe I have never been invited to a mall party. When I was 10, I thought my life was going to be filled with parties in the mall. I just thought that was going to be the greatest thing. Never happened.
Damn.
Have
y'all ever, I was wondering this because I never worked in a mall, and there is a mall that used to be really big around here, but it's now like defunct. So, I mean, I've seen it be kind of empty because of that, but I've never been in an empty, dark mall like that. Have y'all ever done that?
Well, I worked at B. Dalton, which I don't even know if that's a thing that exists anymore. But it was a bookstore. And so, yeah, at closing time.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I have. But I do have to say, you know how people love like old ships, how they look so pretty under the water, even though it's like old, broken stuff. I love a good looking ugly 80s mall that's dead and it has like weeds growing in the middle of it. And it's the greatest thing. We have one in town here. We have like 3 here in my town, but no one's allowed in.
Oh. There's just a bunch of old sad ones in North Carolina. Like my boyfriend took me to the one in his hometown and he was just talking a lot about it because I guess he went there a lot when he was in high school. And then when we went, it was so dead. And he was like, this is way less exciting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I was a kid, that was where you went because, we didn't have, I don't know, that's where you went. And you just hung out. And it's funny because like when I was in the middle of my high school, I moved to a smaller town and they didn't have a mall. And so you hung out at the grocery store.
Oh God.
What?
I think teenagers just like...
Did any married couples hang out with you?
No, that is such a weird, plot point in this film. I don't know what they're...
And the husband is so weirdly handsome. Like they're all pretty good looking, but he looks like he was like built in a lab. He's one of the robots.
His wife though, too, she was hot. Like she looked like different from the 80s girls, like tough girl.
She's a brunette.
Yes. I do. You know what? I was thinking about something when I rewatched it now as an adult with the married couple being in it. I didn't realize that Roger Corman's wife was the producer. So Julie Corman, and they're married, but I guess I think I read something that they had a little tension on set. He was always trying to control it. And there is a scene, there's a married couple in it. And then there's a scene where it's at the end. It's like just the married couple and Allison and Ferdy. And the married woman looks at a mannequin of a bride and like rips the dress off of her and hands it to the young girl for something, like to tie up her arm. And I'm like, that had to be something. Like there's a married couple, they're going to die. There's a younger couple escaping. And this woman just like ripped a bride's dress apart and handed it to Allison. It's a simple little thing that I noticed. And I'm like, I wonder if Roger Corman and Julie Corman were having a little issue.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't write it, but still, that's like a take on marriage. Or that married couple's just super lame and they had no other friends.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I watched Night of the Comet. I remember Night of the Comet very differently, but Kelly
I've
Maroney
seen that movie.
was in both of them.
Yes.
And so
I love her.
I do too. She's such a babe.
So cute.
So
she was
cute.
such a babe. She's like the 80s babe. wait, that's a line in Chubwell. Babe. What did they say?
It had to be babe, or
It
like
must
that?
be
Must
babe, or something like that. Hey, babe. It is babe, isn't it? Or it is babe, right? Okay.
But at the end of Night of the Comet, you have your, what is that called, Mac, again, where the straight people have to get together?
Oh, the compulsory heterosexuality?
Yeah. That's basically what happened. So Kelly Maroney gets her guy. He magically shows up at the end and he's like, do you want to go for a ride with me? And she's like, you have no idea. And then she gets in the car and it's like, it's like the next generation, can continue, I guess. Very strange. So, but I think that was
that one.
Sort of like a lot of what was going on in the 80s in terms of that compulsory, we have to have a boy and a girl together at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I felt like the couples were actually pretty cute in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ferdy and
oh gosh,
that girl were pretty cute.
They were so cute.
They were cute.
Yeah.
Like they're going into the air duct to escape. And I mean, like killer robots are chasing you, dude. And she just stops and looks down at Ferdy and she's like, oh no, like giving each other a loving look. I'm like, you literally just met 3 minutes ago and you're about to get killed by a robot. Just go.
Yeah.
But it's like, we need you to know they're in love. We got it.
Yeah. I was very happy for them at the end.
Well, because, they're virgins, so they get to live.
Yeah. They get to live. They were very cute, though.
They were cute.
How about how about Barbara Crampton?
Yeah.
Huge screen.
I didn't recognize her until I looked at the credits in the script. I was like, wait, what?
She plays Susie.
So cool in it.
Yeah. Her death scene is my favorite scene in the movie.
It's amazing.
The sustained, just like it's so far away from her, but I relate. Like that would be me. They would be like, Mac, it's okay, just get up and run. I'd be like, no, I'm dead. It's over for me.
I was so mad at her. I was like, what are you doing? I was so mad. You didn't like who was the other one? The best death scene.
Oh, the head explosion.
Exploding.
I did like that because I liked that couple a lot too. I liked their whole scene where she was like getting him to go get the smokes, but then made him say please, but then showed her boobs, so then he was like, oh, okay. I don't know. I thought that was actually kind of charming.
His constant gum chewing. I remembered that my entire life after watching that.
And even in his credit scene, it's like they had to show that again.
Yeah.
That guy was so interesting looking too. To me, he looked like he was like AI generated, like that jaw.
Muscles.
And I mean, he did not look like a real person.
No, he didn't.
But he did look like he was funny, like a funny guy to shoot with. I bet he was fun on set.
He just looked like his name was Kip. You know what I mean?
Kip.
Oh, yes, that is true.
He did look like a Kip, for sure.
Total Kip.
Oh, Kip.
Oh, man. It's so great. I mean, the robots, the killbots, amazing. Even in the beginning, like in the control center, I guess, in the mall.
People in lab coats.
I know. I never even thought of that. I just assumed every mall still has that.
Yeah,
like 2 guys up in the top somewhere,
looking at
watching over all of us, eating donuts.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I mean these horny teenagers. I mean,
Can't have an 80s movie without them.
They're all having sex in the same room. I thought that was very
right?
weird.
It was very bizarre.
It was weird.
But
I mean, that's why, especially the married couple, like, you guys have a house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Your
You don't have to
don't
be
live
here.
there with you.
You have a car. Go to the car.
I kept thinking, like, maybe they just get off on this kind of stuff, like the voyeurism of all of it.
Yeah.
But
Very
I
well
was
could
only
be.
10, so at that point, I just, when I first watched this, and so I just thought that's what we all do when we get older. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have sex in front of everybody at the mall? Okay.
Better mentally
Sorry.
prepare for this.
It's so funny how these kind of things get into our brains at a young age, and we just like make assumptions that that's the way the world is.
Yeah.
And
I still catch myself doing that, and then I have to realize, like, no, this was just written by someone. Like, this is not like a documentary.
Yeah. Is this based on a real story?
Yeah. So what are your favorite moments, Chrissy, in Chopping Mall?
I love the opening sequence with the mall. I was really confused when I rewatched it too. I'm like, they have like a full on beauty contest in the
Yeah.
mall, and they were just walking around in bikinis. I'm like,
And like
That's
waving at
cool.
all the guys.
I know. Hi. And obviously the head exploding scene. I just love that whole scene when, like we just talked about with the cigarettes, and she wants him to go get the cigarettes, and him at the machine, and the way he looks at the robots, and then of course her walking out looking all hot, and then getting her head blown off. Love all that, and I really loved. Was Barbara Crampton Susie?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved her. I thought that's what I was going to look like when I got older. I'm going to dress like her. She was like Madonna almost, like with her like rosary she was wearing and her little vest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Fave parts.
Yeah. How about you, Mac? What were your favorite moments from the film?
I definitely like the beginning too. I just feel like it establishes the tone immediately. Like that married couple, I guess they're married, like just swapping jibes about the mall, thing, the robot and
Oh, yes.
the video in the beginning, like how, and they're like, oh, it's non-lethal. And everybody's like, that guy in the video just got killed by this thing. Like, what are you talking about? And I was so hoping that when he turned it on, it was just going to kill the audience.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because I was like,
great.
are you going to scan their, like, they don't have badges. And like, I would have been so scared. But when they turn it on for like the demonstration, everybody in the audience is just like, wow, like I'd be running away.
I'm like, I got to get a new job. What's going on here?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Mom?
Good. Well, I do like the head explosion. I think that's such a great effect. That's amazing. I do kind of like the part where the guys get all like armored, they just like go
Yes.
into, what is it? Peck and Paw Armory or whatever. And they just like get all like, I don't know, outfitted up. And that whole sequence I think is so hilarious.
It's great with the music too. Oh, which reminds me, the music in Chopping Mall. That's probably one of my favorite parts too. And I feel like I thought about it. I think when I was trying to find a theme song for my podcast, my theme song, when I found it, it's called Dance Till Death. And I am so 80s and I love dancing. And I have a true crimes podcast. So I was like, oh my God, my song kind of sounds like da-na-na-na-na, like the 80s feel of it. I guess I was a little inspired by Chopping Mall without realizing it.
Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we need a new theme song for our show. So
we're working on it right now. Jerry sent me a new more stuff for it. I've just been lazy.
Ooh.
Oh, this is behind the scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. That's awesome. Yeah, it's so important for a podcast to have like a good theme song. But that like synth in the beginning of this movie is just so
Perfect.
wonderful. Yeah. No, I mean, I do like Allison at the end. Okay, I did want to talk about the paint store sequence.
She stacked those so fast.
I didn't get what she was doing at all. I was just like, why is she like throwing all this paint on the floor? And I mean, and I didn't know that it was so like flammable.
I don't think it is. It's definitely
No,
not.
it's called suspension of disbelief.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
You just gotta go with it.
Yeah. I've been the writing of that. I was like, what?
There were killer robots, and you're like, the paint is.
All right. Fair point.
It's like the paint like catching on fire didn't get me, but it was like the robots moving towards her, and every time it cuts back, she's stacked like 10 more cans. And I was like, she needs to do a competition or something. She's amazing. I did love how badass she was also. Like she kept just being really cool, and everybody was like, great shot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, she was really good. Well, her dad was a Marine, so.
Yeah. Enough said.
Duh. And her mom painted houses, I hear.
I also love the scene with the janitor. Like I had totally forgotten about that scene, but that guy deserves like an award for his performance.
Yeah. He was incredible.
Is he he's in a lot of movies, right?
Yeah.
I always see him. I don't know who he is, though.
I think his name is Dick Miller, which is a great name.
That's an amazing name.
Yeah, I watched the kill count on this. Do you ever watch Kill Count?
No,
Chrissy. Oh, it's this great show on YouTube where this guy James A. Janice, he goes through like horror films and he just talks about the kills in them, but he gives you a lot of like background on the films and stuff. So I think Mac, are you looking up Dick Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's reprising his role from another film. So, but I can't remember the details about that, but.
He passed away. Rest in peace.
Oh, rest in peace.
He passed away in 2019.
Oh, not that long ago.
Wow,
But I think he had a pretty extensive career, no?
Yeah, from the 50s.
Yeah.
Starting in 1955 up until 2019, which is wild.
That's amazing. Wow.
That's crazy.
Most people don't, in show business or not, they don't work that long. That's crazy. So Chrissy, what's your favorite trivia from this film? I keep calling it a film. I don't know if that's appropriate.
I get it.
Masterpiece would be better.
It's a masterpiece.
Okay.
Maybe just the one with being in the same mall as Commando.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Roger Corman's wife producing it. I didn't know that kind of stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite trivia?
Well, no, I just grabbed this stuff from Wikipedia or IMDb, but I do like it that Kelly Maroney did most of her own stunts.
That's awesome.
That is really cool.
That is cool. See, she was a badass in real life too.
Yeah. And that part with the paint, she does like slip a little, and that's real. She does a little like, she did slip a little. So
the stunts in this movie were amazing. Like I thought that, obviously the person on fire was not Susie or was not Barbara Crampton, but I didn't even mind because I was like, that person is on fire. Like this is incredible.
Yeah.
Or that guy, when he fell off of like, from the top floor, I was like, wow, these stunts are amazing.
They are really good. Yeah. For such a low budget affair, I agree with you. There's some really good stunts in this film.
I can't believe she did her own stunts.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, there was this quote I found. It's kind of disturbing in some ways, but
yay.
Jim Wynorski says Kelly Maroney was cast because he had seen Kelly in a couple of things and I wanted to date her. So I figured the one way to make that happen was to put her in a movie. She replaced Dana Kimmel, who had been cast on the strength of her performance in Lone Wolf McQuade from '83. Dana did not want to do anything that was sexual, according to Mitchell. So Jim was very quick to say, well, she's out. Let's get Kelly, who was pretty much game for anything.
Oh my God.
Kelly.
Damn.
Kelly stole that girl's job right from under her.
Well, she's out.
But it just reminds me of Carrie And just like the pervy casting that went on in terms of Carrie, I think Amy Irving
I
was
didn't know
cast
about it.
because De Palma wanted to date her. So
This is still happening.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But just to be like so like forthright about it, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's honestly like one of the
That's the
scariest
80s.
parts.
What's the scariest part about Carrie? The casting director. Oh, you know what I was going to pick too? Not that it's Carrie, but Prom. I was going to pick Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night too.
And we have never done that
movie.
So Chrissy, if you ever want to come back.
I will come back. We will do Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Those are some hot chicks in that movie. I love that movie.
That is...
We'll do it.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I think I started it, but...
I saw the Prom Night remake, and that's it.
Oh my goodness,
Matt,
you guys.
I think we saw that in the theater, did we?
That was like one of my first horror movies.
Yeah.
Was
that
the
like
Prom Night
Brittany
remake.
Snow?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
She's an icon.
When I was little, I loved Prom Night, obviously, the first one. And I created a game in the neighborhood because I lived in this apartment complex. All these kids, this is the game. It's called The Killers Are Coming. Because you remember they play that in Prom Night? And everyone's like, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. We just run around and we go, The Killers Are Coming. Run around and that was it. I have a hard stop on any idea I have, you know? I'm like, movie in the mall. We play Guns N' Roses. The end. The Killers Are Coming. It was a great game.
I'm sure the adults loved it.
Hide. Oh, they loved it. They're like, shut up!
I can just imagine like other kids' parents are like, I think there's something wrong with Chrissy.
Don't play with Chrissy. Don't play with Chrissy. She's in there watching Dark Night of the Scarecrow again.
I gotta look that up. That sounds really
Whoa,
amazing.
that movie was, I think it was made for TV. And it was sad. There was like this man in town and he was kind of different and he helped this little girl. She got attacked by a Doberman. I hope I'm remembering it right. I haven't seen it since I was little. And so he helps her, but everyone thinks he did it. Like, she got bit by a dog. What do you... And then the whole town is like, let's get him. And his mom is like, go hide in the scarecrow. I guess there was a scarecrow in town. He could hide in it. There's where I'll stop. I'm not gonna, you can probably guess where this goes, but.
I just looked it up and it looks very creepy. Like the scarecrow mask looks very unsettling.
It is very 80s. I tried to watch it. It was on Roku for free or something a couple of years ago. And just the music in the beginning and stuff. I'm like, oh, this brings back memories.
Oh, Night of the Comet, by the way, is on Tubi. So
nice.
Ooh, nice.
Watch that. So one thing that we do on the podcast is we talk about Letterboxd reviews. And Mac, would you like to read the 5-star reviews?
Sure. The first 5-star review comes from Sam Lenz, who says, if I could only watch one movie for the rest of my life, I would choose Chopping Mall with very little hesitation. This isn't just a B movie. It is the B movie. Not the B movie by
Jerry Seinfeld. No.
That's
something totally different.
Olive gave it 5 stars. Wish my girlfriend was Barbara Crampton and she smelled like pepperoni. That scene was wild.
That is great.
I love that.
How like he was like,
I love pepperoni.
And okay, starts strip dancing. The bar is so low for these men.
Words.
Ethan gave it 5 stars. If we're judging movies purely off of enjoyment per minute, this might be the very best one. Fun kills, 80s mall culture, horny teens, and boobs. Another powerhouse Kelly Maroney performance and evil robots all in a 75-minute package. Up there with Slumber Party Massacre 2 and Night of the Comet in the sheer joy it gave me.
Yeah.
Tracks.
All right. Well, not everybody agreed. Livy gave it a 0.5 star. I thought this was going to be a slasher, but I guess I didn't read everything right. But I was so annoyed with that Susie girl. She screamed at every little thing. I wanted to punch her so bad. Like, stop screaming so much.
Livy, you're literally doing the same thing right now.
Think about it.
Livy's like, I hate that girl. She complains too much. Meanwhile, Livy's out here writing a review. That sucks.
Also, this totally is a slasher, is it not? I mean, does it not count? It's
I think it counts, yeah.
You know, horny teens
well, I
get
did
killed.
realize there really is no chopping, right? Is there
Okay, that's a
any
good
chopping?
point.
I mean,
I feel, because I feel like, what, Mike, is that his name? His throat got like cut,
yes.
but his head was not chopped off.
Right.
True.
Which would have been a cool effect if she moved his body and then his head,
the whole head came off.
Yeah, but I'm sure that would be really tough to do.
Missed opportunity. Jordan Brooks gave it a 0.5 star. 2 questions. Not many for this turkey, I know. Why does the mall need lethal robot technology? And why did malls in the 80s all have such well-stocked gun shops? Find answers to these and many more questions here. P.S. I don't think the filmmakers know what paint is made of.
This person needs to suspend their disbelief.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the type of person who would watch like a fantasy movie and be like, well, here's the thing. Dragons aren't real. So.
Truth.
Matthew Barry gave it a 0.5 star. The best part was when the head blew up.
I mean, that is true.
That's all he wrote?
Yeah.
He just ended the movie there. He's
Why
like,
didn't
I've
even
seen
write
enough.
anything?
Letterboxd reviews can be kind of wild. Like, I feel like people just use it as Twitter sometimes.
Right.
Yes, I agree. I never thought about it like that, Mac. But yeah, I like to call it, performance art, but I think that's being really
totally
generous. Well, Chrissy, have you watched this movie with your husband?
He started to watch it with me. It's funny because one of the best things about him and one of the reasons I fell in love with him is when we first started talking, he immediately went straight for like, what movies are you watching? And what, like, that's the weight of my heart. And he has some good picks. Like his favorite movies is The Shining, which I wouldn't have expected from him. So we do these movie marathon weekends. We used to do them a lot more when we first met. He picks a movie that he loves and I pick a movie that I love and we show each other. I never picked Chopping Mall. I don't know why. He would pick these like Norwegian films. And I'm like, I got Hot Rod. Like, that's my favorite. And like, so I tried to get him to watch Chopping Mall. He was so excited and he started watching it with me the other night and he fell asleep. Fell asleep. But he was digging it. He was like, whoa, this opening. Like this.
Yeah.
He sounds so supportive. Like
he's
very
the
nice.
most supportive person I've ever met in my life. Like I would have never have started Residue without him.
Mm-hmm.
And just his positive energy, sometimes you get a bad review or something and you're like, oh God. And he's like, don't worry about it. Let it roll off. Keep going. They're not making a podcast. Like, you got this. And he listens to every single episode. He goes on business meetings and he will hand out my stickers to everyone at the business meetings and their wives will listen. I'm like, he's great.
That's amazing.
One time when I come back to do the next movie, Mary Lou,
yes.
we'll have Jesse pop in.
Oh, great.
Hi.
Great.
He needs like an award. That is just so sweet.
I'm lucky.
Well, Matt, Chrissy, any final thoughts on Chopping Mall?
I did forget to mention the tagline. I'm a huge fan of taglines. They used to be bigger back in the 80s, but was Chopping Mall's tagline, where shopping cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
I guess, I was going to say, I always love a movie with a guy who has like dark hair and glasses, because, I can like project. And first off, I love Ferdy's name. What is that name? Secondly, he looks so much like Rick Moranis, which is a huge plus for me. And yeah, I just thought he was the sweetest. I love how when it's revealed that he's not dead, he's got like the toilet paper roll like under his head. Everything about this movie is so offbeat, but like very charming.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, I think, it's got a good heart.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not really mean it's mean to one fat guy.
Yeah, that part was a little bit out of nowhere. Waitress, more butter, please.
So bad.
Yeah.
But
She calls him like
Why?
an orca whale. I was like, Jesus, why do
But she's poetic about it. She's like, that orca beaches himself here every day.
Yeah.
If you're going to be fat phobic, I mean, at least be poetic. But there's no F slurs in an 80s movie?
That's a huge plus.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing. Lots of boobs, lots of butts, good times.
Everything we want in a movie.
Very 80s. I mean, if aliens came and asked, what do you mean when you say an 80s movie? I think this would be the one we would show them.
That's perfect.
Well, we're so glad that you were able to join us today, Chrissy, and bring us this gem to talk about.
I will. Thank you so much.
What's coming up on the podcast? Where can people find your podcast?
You can find it everywhere. Apple, Spotify, I do even have a YouTube. I play them on YouTube. I don't make videos though, so it's kind of, not getting much traction there. But coming up next, I was working on a social media stories, true crimes that happened because of social media.
Oh.
Not really so much like death, more like harassment and stuff. I just wanted to take a little break for a minute. When I do a really big one, I go to something a little lighter. I was working on Letchworth, the mental facility, and it's near me. So it's working on that. I have just a ton of stuff coming up with it. I'm going to CrimeCon. In 2 weeks. My husband, again, he bought me the tickets for my birthday.
Aww.
We don't have like a table or anything yet. That'll be coming. I will do that. I'm manifesting it. I'll have my own table one day there. But, we got stickers made. We're going to pop into CrimeCon. I'm going to get to meet all my favorite podcast people, fangirl out like a crazy person.
That's amazing.
That's so
fun.
Great. Oh, congrats.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chrissy, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. This is my first ever.
Really?
On a podcast? Yeah.
Aww.
I love it so much.
The first
That was
of
awesome.
many.
Yay.
We'll talk to you real soon, Chrissy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye. You too.